There is a moment many adults recognize, though we rarely talk about it. It might happen late at night when the house is quiet, or early in the morning when the day has not yet asked anything of you. You stand in the kitchen, tired in a way that sleep does not quite fix, and you notice your body feels heavier than it once did. Your hands look a little puffier. Your mouth is dry even though you drank water. You feel fine enough to carry on, but not quite right either. Most people shrug it off. They tell themselves this is just what getting older feels like, or that stress has been building, or that the week has been long. They move on, because moving on is what responsible adults do. But moments like this are rarely random. The body is not careless. It is patient, deliberate, and quietly communicative. When it changes its tone, it is not failing you. It is trying to speak. The kidneys are rarely part of this inner conversation, mostly because they work so quietly. You never feel them when they are doing their job well. They do not ache for attention or announce their effort. They simply filter, balance, adjust, and protect, hour after hour, day after day, year after year. They manage fluids, waste, minerals, and pressure with a calm competence that mirrors the best kind of adulthood. And like many reliable things in life, they are often taken for granted until they are strained. Many people believe kidney trouble arrives suddenly, triggered by bad luck or genetics or age. In truth, it usually arrives slowly, shaped by ordinary choices made under ordinary pressures. Long workdays, meals eaten quickly, comfort foods leaned on when energy runs low, drinks chosen to stay awake, to unwind, or simply to get through another responsibility-filled day. None of this is foolish. None of it is immoral. It is human adaptation. But adaptation has limits. Food plays a quiet but powerful role in this story. Not because certain foods are evil, but because the body must respond to everything that enters it. Each choice asks the kidneys to work in a certain way. Some foods invite balance. Others demand compensation. When compensation becomes constant, strain follows. Consider the foods that arrive wrapped in convenience. Packaged meals, preserved meats, instant dishes, grab-and-go snacks. They are designed for speed, not harmony. They tend to carry a heavy load of substances meant to preserve flavor and shelf life. When these enter the body, the kidneys are asked to manage an unnatural concentration of residue. They pull water toward these substances to dilute them, which is why thirst often follows such meals. Over time, this constant pulling disrupts the body's natural balance. The kidneys are not being damaged in a dramatic way. They are being overworked, asked to clean up a mess that was never meant to be internal. Sugary drinks follow a similar pattern, though their effect feels gentler at first. Sweetened beverages slide down easily, offering a brief sense of comfort or energy. But liquid sweetness moves through the body differently than solid food. It arrives quickly, demands immediate processing, and leaves behind a signal that more is needed. The kidneys respond by filtering excess sugar and fluid again and again. This cycle quietly changes how fluids are handled in the body. Swelling, dryness, frequent urination, and fatigue are not punishments. They are adjustments. Then there are the foods that lean heavily on salt. Not the salt used thoughtfully in cooking, but the kind hidden in snacks, sauces, breads, and restaurant meals. Salt tells the body to hold on. It signals preservation. When salt is abundant, the kidneys are instructed to retain water to maintain balance. This raises internal pressure, not dramatically, but persistently. The body adapts by tightening systems meant to remain flexible. Over time, this constant tension dulls sensitivity. Signals become harder to read. What once felt like too much begins to feel normal. Fried foods carry another kind of burden. When food is cooked in unstable oils at high heat, it changes character. It becomes harder to break down, heavier to process, and more inflammatory in nature. The kidneys are not inflamed in isolation. They are responding to a body that is dealing with irritation on multiple fronts. The result is subtle congestion. Waste moves more slowly. Fluids linger. Energy dips. Again, this is not failure. It is accommodation. Refined grains and sweets deserve mention not because they are forbidden pleasures, but because they are stripped of context. When grains lose their natural structure and sugars are isolated, the body is left without the cues it relies on to process food gradually. Everything hits at once. Blood shifts, hormones respond, fluids are redirected. The kidneys must respond quickly and repeatedly. Over time, this rapid cycling dulls their ability to regulate with nuance. Extremes become more common. Highs and lows replace steadiness. Alcohol enters the picture differently. It is not a food, but it often accompanies them. Alcohol signals the body to release water, disrupting natural fluid balance. The kidneys respond by increasing output, which can feel cleansing in the moment. But repeated disruption trains the system to expect imbalance. Dehydration becomes easier. Recovery takes longer. What once felt like relaxation begins to leave a residue of fatigue and fog. Artificial sweeteners add another layer of confusion. They promise sweetness without consequence, but the body experiences sweetness as information. When sweetness arrives without nourishment, signaling becomes distorted. The kidneys respond to what the brain expects, not what arrives. This mismatch creates subtle stress, not dramatic harm, but a persistent sense that something is off. Even foods marketed as healthy can create strain when they are overly processed or consumed without awareness. Protein-heavy bars, fortified drinks, and engineered health foods often ask the kidneys to filter. Concentrated components without the natural buffers found in whole foods. The issue is not protein itself, but concentration without context. What matters most is not any single food, but the pattern they create together. A pattern of urgency. A pattern of compensation. A pattern of asking the body to do more with less support. The kidneys respond by adapting, just as they are designed to do. They work harder. They shift balance. They sacrifice long-term ease for short-term stability. Symptoms arise not as warnings of doom, but as messages. Swelling is the body saying it is holding on. Dryness is the body saying it is losing track of balance. Fatigue is the body saying regulation is taking effort. These are not accusations. They are observations. For adults over 30, this is especially important to hear. By this stage of life, most people have carried responsibility for years. They have learned to push through discomfort. They have learned to normalize subtle signals. They have learned to prioritize obligations over sensations. The body, meanwhile, has been quietly keeping score, not to judge, but to adjust. Listening does not require force. It does not require drastic change or discipline fueled by fear. It begins with curiosity. When you notice thirst that does not make sense, heaviness that lingers, or energy that fades without explanation, the question is not what you did wrong. The question is what your body has been responding to faithfully for a long time. The kidneys are not fragile. They are resilient, intelligent, and responsive. They are capable of finding balance again when the environment they work in becomes gentler. This does not happen through punishment or restriction, but through respect. Through choosing foods that arrive with their natural structure intact, through allowing meals to be moments rather than interruptions, through recognizing that convenience often shifts cost onto the body, and that the body will always pay eventually, quietly. There is no need for urgency here. The body moves at the pace of trust. When it senses safety, it relaxes. When it senses consistency, it recalibrates. When it senses that it no longer has to compensate constantly, it begins to restore ease. You are not broken. Your kidneys are not failing you. They have been working with what they were given, responding intelligently to every signal sent their way. Change is possible because the body is alive, adaptive, and deeply invested in your well-being. All it asks is to be listened to, not controlled. If you pause long enough to notice how certain foods make you feel hours later, not immediately, you may begin to hear a quieter wisdom. Not rules, not fear, just a steady sense of what supports balance and what demands compensation. That awareness, approached gently, is often enough to begin a different conversation with your body. One rooted in respect, patience, and the understanding that healing is not a battle, but a return to cooperation.